How you going, people? Oh, that's a good one. A lot of lessons. Grab your coffee, grab your drinks if you're watching it tonight, and let's talk about this. So, this video, they stop a guy, and if you notice in here in the description, it says they stop the guy and give him a ticket, and then he calls him back, and he flags down a trooper, and then the trooper calls for backup, and then they end up doing these field sobriety tests. So, how did we get to where this video starts? A trooper stopped this dude for speeding, gave him a ticket, released him, and when the trooper was trying to leave, the person who got the ticket flagged him down, and then they got a second officer and decided to do field sobriety tests. Now, the field sobriety tests, this guy looks pretty drunk. So, when this video, progresses, you're going to tell this guy has two guns. He has one on him and one in his car. The trooper has already given him a ticket, dealt with him, stopped him, identified him, told him what he did wrong, gave him a ticket, and released him. And you would think that that was the end of it, but it wasn't. So he flags him down, they get a second unit, and let's see what happens next. Woo! Okay, we have two officers. Zebra stripes, maybe that's corporal. I don't know if he's sergeant or not. So we got big dude, this tall big dude. We got medium-sized dude. Two in-shape male officers against one male guy who is actually smaller than both the officers. This is why people, kill me when they say, well, a woman can do a job a man can do, and they're just, okay, yeah, right. So here's two able-bodied men and a really large man, and they kind of lose this fight. So here's some issues that cops are dealing with here. One, anytime you do anything on a highway, you got a guardrail here with a bridge over here, so you can't move the guy behind a guardrail to get safety. Where are they at? I call it the no-leg zone. Remember, here's the push bumper. If somebody hits this car, they're standing in between this car gets pushed into this car, and everybody loses their legs. So doing things here aren't good. If you're going to do them in front of this car. Why are they here? Because they want it on camera. They're thinking video. They're thinking evidence. They're not thinking the danger if a car hits this car and they're in between it. But I digress. Let's get back to the video. A lot of cars coming by. You're on a highway. Anytime you deal with somebody on this type of road, you got to be aware that the suspect can knock you into the road, push you into the road, start fighting and drag you into the road. These cars are coming by fast. They don't slow down. They don't see you. You get run over. Lots of dangers here besides the suspect.
Do me a favor. Come over here.
Quick, for my normal viewers, when is the most dangerous time when dealing with a suspect? If you said anything other than when you go to handcuff them, you're a dummy, or you haven't been here a while. That is when most cops get assaulted, the fight starts, they go for the weapon, they know it's their last chance to get away. Cops, if you learn anything, when you start putting the cuffs on somebody, that is the most dangerous. I don't care how cooperative the guy, this guy looks cooperative. He's obviously cooperative. The guy gave him a ticket, he released him, and now he called him back for a field sobriety test. So the guy's been cooperative during this whole thing. Why would anybody think somebody would resist? Well, if you don't think that, you become a victim. These guys, maybe they did think it, maybe they didn't, but they didn't do it good enough because they become victims.
Go place your hands behind your back.
So this guy, notice this guy walking over here. This is what I call a routine. We're going to take this guy into custody. He's been cooperative. No reason to think he's going to do anything. My hands are in a comfortable position hanging on my belt. I'm looking down. He did move over next to him, so he was close enough. He moved over in case the guy tried to run into traffic or throw the officer in traffic. So is this guy thinking tactically, or is he being lackadaisical? Even if it appears he's being lackadaisical, his behavior, his actions say he's thinking tactically. If he was totally lackadaisical, he would have stayed right back here and would not have moved. He would have just stayed here and let the guy go by himself. But he didn't. So although it looks like he's not paying attention, he does move into a good tactical position to assist the officer if he needs it.
Go place your hands behind your back.
Why is he moving him here? Because he probably knows the most dangerous time when shit hits the fan is when you go to put the handcuffs on somebody.
What? Hey, place your hands.
Okay. Everybody, when did this guy become a no person? Where do no people belong? This guy is what you call a no person. And the fight's on. And this was a big dude. Did you notice how he tried to get him in a... Right here, he tries to get him almost in a full Nelson, pulls him around. He's trying to prevent his hand from going for a gun. You don't know that yet, but the guy has a gun. And you'll see this guy in a minute. So he knows that, and he's like, shit, I'm fighting for my life right now. He puts the arm around the head. He's much bigger and much stronger, and he's got two people. And this guy, instead of jumping on this guy's neck, instead of taking out a knee and kicking the crap out of it, instead of doing a pinky toe takedown, instead of going for the gut grab, poking him in the eye, or jumping on his neck, he goes for his taser. Look at that stance. Woohoo! Look, I'm cracking on these cops. These cops agreed that this video should be replaced because they think it was a good training video. So these cops are surviving. I'm not saying these guys are knuckleheads. They could have made some errors. They could have done things better. No cop ever wants to be in a situation they're in, but you know what? Shit happens, and you got to deal with it on the fly. So I'm cracking on this guy, but don't come here hating on me and say I'm hating on this guy. I'm not. I'm just kind of making fun that he's in his tactical Spidey stance with his freaking taser because that's what he's been taught, and because tasers work, and the taser company that sold it to the agency for $2,000 a piece tells you it's the best weapon out there, right along with his pepper spray, which is on his belt. So big guy goes down. Boom. He's got the taser. Johnny on the spot. Bum, 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 bum. Bam! And then the big brown taser came, and he shot him. Okay. Does it work? Maybe not. This guy's about to go down. He's so struggling keeping his hands on the taser and moving away that he's losing his footing. This guy tries to get back up, tries to get back in a fight. Taser worked about right here. Bzzz. Shock man. And he goes to the ground. So he did get a taser. Cop, I think, has the gun that he was trying to get to. Maybe the cop grabbed the gun when he was fighting with him. And that's why he couldn't control him. And that's, you know, people are going to say, this guy's a lot bigger than him, should have took him down. If he was only trying to take him down, probably could have. But he wasn't. He knew there was a gun. He was going for the gun. The gun was a bigger threat. He would rather get the gun and lose the guy than let the guy get the gun. I think that was a smart move. He got the gun. Both of them go back in for the fight. They're on the road. This guy does a good job at clearing traffic before he runs out there. I don't know if you saw that. I'll go back. Look at him clear traffic. Clears traffic, goes out there.
I got it.
So, they might have cleared traffic then, but if some knucklehead's coming out here that ain't paying attention, all three of them are road fodder. They're going to get mowed over. So they're both standing over there. They got him on the ground. Most people would say, Rick, they were too tough on him, and probably race was involved, and they didn't have to tase him again, and he was on the ground here, and they should have backed off and been nice, and you know, why did they have to tase him again, and why did they kick him, and why did they drag him? Well, that's because you're an idiot, because the fight's never over until this dude's in cuffs. He is a major threat.
Keep the taser on.
So he's screaming and yelling. Notice the big dude drag him out of there like he's a slab of meat.
Keep the taser on.
Grab him, snag him. That's a big dude, and he's yanking him around pretty easy. So they get him off to the side. Again, people are like, why don't the cops do this? Why don't the cops? The cops are thinking, I don't want to get run over. Where's my environment? Where's safe? Where can we fight? They're not. Cops just aren't able, like all the know-it-alls that tell cops how they should be freaking perfect and focused on one thing. They're just not focused on beating the guy up. They're not focused on just shooting the guy. They're not focused on just arresting the guy. They're focused on not getting run over by traffic, keeping it in a safe zone, not letting him have their gun, get the gun from him, dealing with tasers that don't work. Rapidly evolving chaos. And I would even call this controlled chaos. They're trying to control it, but when you get in this, things don't go. That's why the people are like, well, if you know how to shoot your gun, then you only need one bullet and you can just shoot it. And target placement is the most important thing. And, you know, when you reload and you have to use the slide release or the slide stop and you don't use sling, you could save a half a second because you need to get that other. Yeah, you're a freaking idiot. You're talking theory. You're talking range training. You're talking things that may sound good to somebody that's never been in it. Seconds about reloading ain't concerned here. Seconds about whether your bullet placement is great ain't concerned here. These guys are trying to stay alive. They're trying to arrest this guy and overcome his force without getting sued for using too much force. They don't want to hurt him. They don't want to break bones. They don't want to drop a knee into his ribs and crack his ribs, maybe get lucky and stab his lungs so he bleeds out and he can't fight. They don't want to do any of that because they're trying to be gentler and kinder officers. They're trying to be nice. They don't want to be called racist by CNN News. So they're trying to be nice. And for their troubles, they get extra bullet holes to go home with.
Fuck. Keep the taser on.
Now, there's going to be some ACLU, CNN will be playing this part right here. Look at these two officers just tasing a poor man on the ground, not doing anything. He was on his way to doctor school, and they just tased him, made him scream and holler. This is how law enforcement in America works. I mean, the lying media is just ridiculous. This guy is such a huge threat. Now, this guy ends up getting the gun and for some reason wants to take time to unload it. I don't get that. I told this story several times where the sergeant threw his own gun over the fence before he fought with a suspect because he didn't want to lose his gun. Doesn't make sense. Never trained. Nobody's ever trained. When you take a gun, make sure and clear the magazine and dump the round in the middle of a fight while your partner and you have already lost the guy twice. He's already tried to kill you and got a gun. He still isn't handcuffed. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, you should always go over and clear the gun. These are the safety sallies that come here. You should never do a video with a loaded gun. You should always clear it. I'm surprised this guy ain't walking up to the patrol car and showing the freaking camera that the chamber's empty for the safety sallies out there. Why are you messing around with a damn gun before you get this guy? Well, Rick, maybe he didn't want the guy to get over there and grab the gun. Then you throw it in the bushes. You throw it over the rail. You throw it in your car. You stick it down your pants. You put it in your pocket. You do something, but you don't sit there and start clearing it in the middle of an incident. Why did he do that? The mind does funny things when you're going through fight or flight and you've got a bunch of things and you're overtasked and you're overthinking everything and things are going a mile a second and it appears to be slow motion. And look, I'm not saying this guy's mean, bad, should be killed, kicked off the force because he cleared a damn gun. I'm saying it don't make no damn sense why people do something sometime, but it's not malicious. He's not clearing a gun because it's a black gun. He don't like black guns. That's not why he's doing it. He's doing it because of the chaos, and for some reason, he has got focused on his gun as the threat, and he wants it cleared. Would not have been my priority. I wouldn't have done it that way. Does that mean I'm right and he's wrong? No. A lot of ways to skin a cat, people. Just pointing out things. I'm kind of figuring where he got the gun. He's fighting here. Where does he end up with the gun? Ah, there it is on the ground. So maybe the cop didn't have it before. I don't know when that gun ended up appearing. It's on the ground. He just kicked it to him. It was out here, and he kicked it to him. Take a look at that again. There's the gun right there. Falls out. I don't think either of them see it. Luckily, the bad guy didn't see it because he could grab it. Does he see it here and does he kick it on purpose or is it by accident? I think he kicks it by accident. I think he almost steps on it and he's like, oh shit, there's a gun there. Let me grab it. Grabs the gun. Okay, good move. Should he have grabbed the gun? Yeah, I want to get the gun out of there. Could he have stuffed it in the back? I'd have probably shoved it in my back. I've put guns in my back before. It's away from the suspect, etc. Somebody's going to say, what happens if you go to the ground and he gets it? Yeah, you know, what if and butts and coconuts? I don't know. If a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass when he jumped. You can't if and butt everything. Shit happens. I would have put on my back pants. Could have worked out good. This guy walked over here and cleared it. Hey, you know what? He may have thinks he did a good job. He breaks contact and he comes over here to clear the gun. Was that the best thing? If the incident ended here and this was the only gun, then everybody'd be saying, man, that was a great move. Fact is, it doesn't end here. The guy ends up getting away maybe because he ran over here and did this instead of jumping on him when he was on the ground and putting a knee in his head, throat, and ribs. Maybe they could have got him into custody. He wouldn't have got access to the other gun. Neither one of them would have been shot. So was this the right move or was it the wrong move? Again, the outcome will always dictate how people see it. I don't know why he did that.
Get on your back!
So this guy appears to be a little bit in panic mode. What happens a lot of time in a fight, and this doesn't seem like long. I mean, we're only a minute into the video. So these guys haven't fought that long, but when you start breathing heavy and you go into fight or flight and you're wrestling and rolling and things aren't going right and this guy's been on the ground and he's broken away and he's pushed both officers been on the ground, he's been over here and they're on the road, things seem like, and you start running out of oxygen. You kind of forget to breathe. You hold your breath. And then you start sucking oxygen. You're not thinking clearly. So both these guys have almost gone into what I would call a stall, or they've kind of lost that initial adrenaline pump. And now they're like, man, I got to get some air. And because they're thinking of getting air, they're not necessarily thinking of, we got to get this guy in freaking custody. We got to get some freaking handcuffs. We got to disable this guy. He's winning. He's beating us. We're both getting tired. Our chances of winning is decreasing every second we're on this busy highway out here fighting with this guy. We've got to do something. That's why I always say, you know, you got to win that fight in the first 5 or 10 seconds. You have to take out that trachea. You know, go for the TMJ. Go for an eye. Break a jaw. Get a chokehold. Do something as a civilian if you got to get in a fight. You've got to win that fight very quickly, and you have to. Your violence of action has to be very exaggerated. These cops are worried about policy, what it's going to look like on camera. Using minimum force. We don't want to appear to be too mean. We don't want to break his arm and get sued. We don't want to. That's how you get cops killed. That's why these cops get shot. That's why this guy wins and these guys lose. You can say whatever you want, but that's just the fact. So he's still, I'm not sure if he's trying to, again, no wrist holds, no twist locks, no twisting that arm. I can twist that arm. And I'll twist it in a clockwise position. I'll lock your shoulder and elbow up, and you will have no choice but to roll over on your back, and I'll have that arm straight up behind you. And then I can either kick it and break it, or you can bend it and I can put it behind your back. Rick, you can't kick an arm. Yeah, okay. You keep believing that. So, fighting and wrestling around, trying to be nice, not using two hands. I still have a taser here. Where's my gun? My gun's here. My gun's there. We got a cleared gun over here that's not doing anything, but at least it's cleared. I still wish he'd came up to the camera and showed us. I'm nervous that there's a gun out there that I don't know is clear. Freaking idiots on the. All right. So this car obviously didn't move over. If somebody got pushed right here when this car's coming over, they're run over.
All right.
Okay, so they've tased him, they fought him, and now this cop need him in the back. Is that too much force? Is that accept? Is deadly force authorized right here? And that's the question that a lot of people seem to be confused about when I do these long videos, is when was deadly force authorized and when wasn't it? Could they shoot the guy right now? Legally, yeah, I'm going to go with maybe on this one. They've taken a gun away. There's two officers. There's 2-on-1. It's reasonable that they think they got the gun off him, although cops are taught if you find one gun, then he's got two guns. If you find two guns, then he's got three guns. And, you know, a lot of people don't believe that, but in this case, guess what? He gets away and he gets to a second gun in the car. So he does have two guns. He may have 3 or 4 guns. We don't know. But this guy is definitely a threat. Could they shoot him right now? I would be iffy on this, on the fence. Could they have shot him when he had the gun? Yes. Could they have shot him when he ran with the gun? Maybe. They saw the gun. They would probably have to justify that he reached for it. They'd want to make sure it was on camera. Would they both be alive and not be shot if they had shot him? Yeah, they would. They'd be getting a lot of heat, and that's a decision you have to make when you get in deadly force. Do you want to be arguing in court that you use too much force, Or do you want to be dead and having some DA argue that you were killed? That's a choice you got to make. One. Guy starts punching him in the face. Rick, can he punch him? Yeah. I call those distraction strikes. They could be disabling. Where is he punching? Is he punching out of frustration, or is he actually target punching? Is he going for the TMJ where the jaw's at, right below the ear? Is he going for the neck, maybe to pop that carotid artery and stop the blood flow to the brain? Is he going to the temple to knock this guy out? Where is he punching, or is he just punching? If he's just punching, it's not going to do much. And it doesn't do much. Now, that's a big dude. He dragged that go. I just love when people want to tell me about how women can do anything. Can anybody in their right mind see 2 women fighting this guy? Can anybody in their right mind see 3 women fighting this guy and winning? These are 2 big dudes bigger than this guy, and they are not winning easy. That's why when I think we tell the lie about quota hires and women are just as good and can do anything a man can do, it's a flat-out lie, and it sets them up for failure, and that's how they get killed, or that's how we spend millions of dollars hiring 50 women that do nothing but write tickets, and then when they get in these situations, we have to hire another 50 men to come save them. Rick, you can't say that. Shut up, you big dummies. I can say...
All right.
One.
Get the fuck on your back!
Okay, these 2 guys are getting tired. This video is going on for 1 minute and 25 seconds. They probably only been fighting for I don't know how long. But these guys are wearing out because they're fighting. They're using more energy because they're trying not to hurt the guy and they don't want to break an arm. They're not in a street fight to where they can just go all out and grab him by the throat and crush his windpipe. They can't stick thumbs in his eyes and poke his eyeballs out. They can't do that, so it takes more energy to stay in a prolonged fight like they are. So the guy's been tased, been knocked to the ground, and he's been fighting just as long as they have. And he's able to stand up and get away from 2 officers. Rick, how can that be? Those officers need, here come the idiots. Those officers need more training. It ain't a training issue, people. The guy who's fighting and running has everything to lose. He doesn't want to go to prison, and he's going to do everything he can to get away. The 2 guys who have something to lose, who probably has a family, a job, they just came to work today, they're out here trying to make a living, they don't want to get killed, they don't want to get sued, they don't want to be on the news on CNN being called racist, so they've got all these factors of policies and laws working against them, and they can't really fight like they would want to fight because they're restricted. That's why when cops use a baton, it's not deadly force. When a suspect takes your baton, it is deadly force. Because cops have training and restraints that are put on them through policy training, etc. They're videotaped, and therefore they cannot take care of business like they should. Guy gets away. These guys are both tired. Hell, I think if he went straight down the road, neither one of them would have chased him. But he tried to get back to the car. This guy gets his gun out. Good move. This guy, I think, twists his ankle right here and goes down. He does. And that happens a lot when you're in a fight. You're tired, you're breathing, you're kind of losing your little equilibrium. You're breathing hard, trying to suck oxygen. This guy's leaning in a car. Is deadly force authorized here? Again, legally, I think you could articulate this guy is a serious danger and he should be shot. If he gets behind his car, he's going to kill somebody. If he reaches in there for another weapon, he may kill somebody. But most cops, like I said, morally, they're like, we don't see a gun yet, and we don't really want to shoot till we see a gun. And if we shoot him, we're going to be on CNN being called racist. So let's wait. They're waiting for action. The guy gets to act. They're waiting. Then they have to react. We all know reaction is slower than action. Now they're both here. I think this guy sees the gun first because he knocks this guy out of the way. So this guy can't return fire. Why? Because he was tunnel vision on a suspect. He didn't have a clear view. He moved over here. He didn't expect this guy to run in front of him and jump in front of his gun. He didn't predict that. So he was coming here to cover this guy and to shoot, and all well-laid plans are great until the first bullet's fired. And now When this guy sees a gun, he's like, get out of my way. Well, when he says get out of my way, he knocks his gun out of the way so this guy can't return fire. Guess what? It only takes one fraction of a second of error on the guy's reacting for the guy who is acting, the bad guy, to get the advantage. He's out with a gun, and these two are struggling. He can't shoot. The guy's in front of him. He's got his gun out. He could have shot. Background is this big old truck. This guy takes a good aggressive stance, and he opens fire. So, this guy's gun goes over here. Why? I don't know if he gets hit or if he goes down. I thought he shot this guy first. But for some reason, this guy went here. And if he got hit with a bullet, with or without a vest, the impact put his gun this way. Look where this guy's gun's pointed. Over here. Remember I tell you as a citizen, when you see cops fighting or cops around an area, you want to avoid or minimize that area. You don't want to get hit with a straight bullet. You think this guy cares if he misses the cops where his bullets go? Do you think these cops are like, well, I would like to shoot this guy, but I've always been taught that I need to clear my background, and every bullet I fired I'm responsible for, and I have to stop and think about where my bullets... Bullshit. When you're getting shot at, you're shooting back, and you don't care if you miss or what's behind him. You're putting down fire. So for the idiots that want to come here and teach philosophy 101 of rainbow policing and say that cops should always wait and look for their background and make sure that no one else before they shoot at a bad guy, even when the bad guy is trying to kill him, well, you're a freaking idiot. So I do think this guy was shot. He went down hard. This guy goes to a good kneeling stance, gets that front leg out. That used to be a taught for a kneeling stance. He gets a stable background and tries to get, but this guy's already shot his partner, and then he switches to him. Guess who has the best cover here? Suspect. Was that planned or lucky? I think it was lucky. He grabbed his gun and started shooting. This guy didn't say, okay, I'm going to keep my gun in the car, and when the cops are over here, if I get in a shooting, I'm going to run over here, and tactically, I'm going to use my vehicle as cover and some sort of protection and concealment against these guys so I can return fire, and I can make my target very small while they're very large because they're open and exposed. That's not what this guy thought of. Happened by luck. It always happened by luck for the other guy. That's why you have to plan and be thinking ahead tactically. These guys are caught out in the open. I mean, could these have guys done better or done? I don't know, man. I'm not saying these guys are bad. Don't come here say I'm hating on these cops. I'm telling you from a learning perspective, this is a great example of how chaos goes more chaotic, and sometimes you can plan, but a lot of times you don't have time to plan, and you do the best you can. These both guys stay in the fight, and they return fire. From that perspective, they did a great job. They didn't give up. They didn't say, screw this, and just start running in the woods. They didn't drop their guns, throw their hands up, and say, I give up, man, you can drive off. They stayed in the fight. And that's drilled into cops and military all the time. Never give up. Never stop fighting. Fight till the end. Don't give up. These both guys stay in a fight. The guy that went down, you think he's down now to fight, but he's going to be returning fire here. This guy gets hit, and he climbs over the rail because he's out of the fight. He's in pain, maybe bleeding his lung. I don't know what's going on, but he definitely gets out of the fight in a second here. So he's down, and I think he's hit. And now this guy moves back to the other guy who's returning fire. This guy really does pretty good tactically. He's got a stable thing. He's got a stable platform. He's leaning on here. He's using a two-handed grip. His target is relatively small. Even though they could shoot through the window or through the car, it's not necessarily going to protect him. He's got some sort of cover. Watch that again. Happens quick. Okay. So we're talking seconds here. And, you know, people will be like, well, the cops should have done that. And the cops should, look, man, you can't do shit but return fire when you're getting shot at. This car driving by here, instead of stopping or pulling over, I'm lucky this car doesn't have bullet holes in it or has been shot. Because, I mean, I ain't driving by cops and bad guys shooting each other. Obviously, this person isn't watching the channel and he doesn't care. He's like, oh, hell, they're shooting each other. I'll just drive on over here. I got to get to the donut shop. They got a special sale on the sprinkled Krispy Kreme donuts here. I mean, what? Who is this guy driving? Or woman? Whatever it is in there. I just can't believe it. But, you know what? Hey. shots fired. No big deal. I'll just keep on driving by. La, 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 la. Okay. You notice this guy right here, he's in pain, probably got the breath knocked out of him if he got hit in the vest. One of the cops was shot 4 times, and I'm not sure which one it is. And he was in the hospital, induced coma for 21 days. So if it was this guy, you can tell the way he's climbing over this rail, he's bleeding out, he's bleeding internally, he's got some wounds. He is out of the fight here. He's like, I'm in too much pain. I can't hold my gun up. He is out of the fight. Did he give up? I don't know. He went into self-survival. I got to create distance. I can't fight this guy. I lost. Let me get over this rail. So he climbs over the rail, trying to create distance and a barrier, and he's pretty much out of it. Now, here's where I'm not real sure what happens here. I think this cop back here is shooting through this window. But I can't tell if maybe the guy on the inside is shooting out. Very hard to tell. Are those bullets coming from in or out? I don't know. My guess is they're coming from out here, the cop's shooting through the windshield. Why would the guy get in the car and continue to shoot? I think he got in a car. Again, I'm just trying to use reasonable logic here. He got in a car to get away. He didn't get in a car to keep shooting. If he wanted to keep shooting, he would have stayed out here and fired on him. So my guess through logic and through just figuring it out is this guy back here is shooting. This guy's out of the fight. The guy who fell over here is returning fire and trying to put rounds in there. Because of the steady, sustained fire that I'm hearing, I'm thinking this cop reload. He did a reload, and he's pretty much doing a mag dump on his car now, which is good. He's still in the fight. He's returning rounds. What happened to all the traffic? There was all kind of traffic here earlier. What happened? Maybe some dummy over here got a clue and stopped and didn't want to drive by the gunfire like the idiot in the white car. Rick, you can't call that person an idiot. Maybe they shut up, you freaking idiot. All of this, and a guy drives away. Are you kidding me? Wow. So, we went from a guy who was ticketed, let go, flagged down the officer, did DUI tests, failed tests, and everything was fine until they went to handcuff him. And then when they handcuffed him, they fought him, and he had one gun. They took it. They cleared it. They thought he was a safe guy. They tried to be easy on him. He broke away from 2 male officers, got up, got to his car, rearmed himself, used the car for cover, and shot the cops, and then drove away. Rick, if they just had the Spidey Man net vest shooter gun that threw the net, we could catch him. Yeah, okay, well, you're an idiot. Rick, if they just had more training, then they could... Yeah, you're an idiot. You can't train for untrainable events. Sometimes things happen on a fly. You can't recreate every situation. This situation may never happen again in all shootings. But there's certain lessons you could learn. Stay in the fight. Fill the fire. Keep moving. Get the guy into custody. Don't mess around with clearing a damn gun in the middle of a fight where you're fighting with a guy. Stay on a guy and get him into custody. Disable his elbows, knees, eyes, something if he's going to continue to fight. So quit depending on the damn taser so much. I mean, there's certain lessons that we can learn from this event if we're not worried about, well, everyone deserves a trophy and we don't want to say anything bad because we might hurt somebody's feelings and, you know, whatever. All right, everybody's always complaining. I'll put a link to the video about me not playing it all the way through. So, here you go.
Get on your back! Get on your back! On your back! All right. Get on your back! Fucking back! My gun! My gun!
The groin area is a great area for this right now.
All right, be my ass. Get the fuck on your back!
Okay, it is what it is. Lots of lessons here. We'll end that there. Argue it out in the comments about how I was wrong.